How's it going, everybody? I hope that you're doing all right out there. Sorry if my internet is slow. I'm very sorry about that. I actually am having to use my hotspot of my cell phone data because once again I don't have real Wi-Fi. Maybe one of these days I'll be able to get real Wi-Fi. How you doing today? I see somebody pop in here. What's your scent of the day? How you doing? Hope that everybody's doing all right out there. I'm trying to plug in my phone real quick so I don't. I mean it's charged. I just want to make sure I don't run out of power. But how's it going, everybody? How's it going? How's the audio? I have a little fan going. I hope that it's not messing up the audio or anything like that. Hey, what's going on? I'm doing good, Gam. It's great to see you. I hope that the audio and the everything's looking good. I've invested in lighting pretty good. I need to probably get this out of the way, huh? It's Does this change the audio much if I move this over here? Does that change anything? Let me know if it does or if it doesn't. So, anyways, yeah, there we go. How's everybody's week been? Any new fragrances? I just made a fragrance by CA order. They have. I'm not sponsored. I'm not getting anything in return, but they have a special 12% off discount. It's usually there's only 10, so it's a bigger sell than usual. And again, join their membership program. It's almost like FragranceNet, and then you get free shipping and stackable gift cards. You save a lot of money. That's the best place for. Okay, it sounds good. The audio is good. Hey there, Pete. Says doing good. Scent of the day is Hoctavat. Audio sounds good. I'm happy to hear that the audio is good. I have a real microphone set up now, and again, I'm going to be recording a little bit like this in the future, but I still have 50 more videos outside. So let's jump and talk about some new fragrance news. If y'all have any topics y'all want to talk about, let me know. This is an open discussion where we can talk about almost anything. Um, let me pull up FragranceNet and see what we got going on over here. Again, let me know what was your scent of the day. If you are curious about what my scent of the day every single day is, again, I do have an Instagram for all of that. So I share my scent of the days every day. If you want me to share my scent of the day every day on YouTube, let me know. This is your opportunity to let me know. Do you want to see my sense of the day every single day here on YouTube? So, anyways, any new releases that y'all been curious about? I have Ginger Lover by Azaro on the way, a brand new fragrance. At least it's going to be for me, but y'all probably reviewed it or heard about it already. Have y'all bought that one? Do y'all think it's good? I have that one, and I have some good cheapies on the way. So, I also have a Risky Blind Buy, a Montal, Oud Leather. Heard some pretty good things about it. I love anything that's even somewhat similar to Tuscan Leather by Tom Ford. So I thought I'd give it a go. Completely Risky Blind Buy. And I actually thought about buying one I already liked. Have y'all ever done that before? You know that you already like something, and you probably should buy the one you already know that you like, but instead you blind buy something completely risky. I do that sometimes. It's a strange thing I think some of us do as fragrance lovers. Let's see here. 40 Knots by Xerjoff was the scent of the day. The nice choice, really nice choice. That's some upscale stuff. I'm just wearing good old St. Kitts from Tommy Bahama. That's my scent of the day. Nothing too special, nothing too crazy. Just something relaxing, something easygoing. I did some hard work today. It's been a really rainy day here today, but we've hit some hot summer days here pretty recently. We had a couple 90-degree Fahrenheits already, so it's been kind of hot and rainy on and off. The humidity is really starting to pick up, and the bugs are kind of crazy out here in the south, as y'all know. But yeah, 40 Knots by Xerjoff, man, pulled out a good one, Michael. Anyways, anything y'all want to tell me? Any news, any drama? I not really don't want to get into the drama too much. I've seen some people kind of exploring or discussing Jeremy Fragrance. I don't want to say too much. I've said plenty enough in the past, but I don't know. I think as a fragrance community, maybe I'll get into the drama just a little bit here. I think that we as a fragrance community are starting to accept that Jeremy Fragrance, I mean, he gets people into the hobby, sure. I've talked about that. He has his own passion. I have no doubt that in his heart of hearts he does like fragrance to some degree, but I think that we community as a whole are starting to realize that we can have different opinions. And some people I'll say sometimes I always like to say that my points are mute or don't have a point or don't make much sense. But I think that each fragrance reviewer and the people in general are maybe perhaps starting to realize that there's lots of opinions and we're all not going to see everything the same, and we don't need a leader. We don't need anybody who is the authority of fragrance. And that's not so. When I made my little motto, "Wear what you love," it was more about helping people feel comfortable wearing niche or strange things or whatever they wanted to wear. What if it was a cheapie that everybody looked down upon? I mean, if you like it, wear it. That's what it was. It wasn't really to take away from Jeremy, but remember when he attacked my motto, I knew that there was more to be done. Again, when I started my channel, I spoke very slowly in my first video, and I improved a lot as a person, as a character. But you can go back to my very first video and why I started a channel. Some people, might not believe why I started a channel. I kind of discussed some of the thought, and I kind of did want to change up the fragrance game. And I can't take all the credit in the world. I'm not the biggest person. I'm not the biggest fragrance person, but I explore different topics and different issues. And I think that we've started to realize that, there's a lot of fragrances out there. We're all to explore. Jeremy Fragrance very reviews very few fragrances. He doesn't really even review. He just gives you top 10s or top 5s or whatever, and he tells you if they're good, which is fine. That's easy to understand. And if you trust him or have similar taste to him, some fragrance reviewers like to do that. Then I guess you can buy according to Jeremy Fragrance. But there's a world of fragrance out there that he's never reviewed. I mean, he's touched some niche here and there, but he doesn't really explore. And that's something I think the fragrance community hopefully is going to do more in the future. Some people have pulled towards the algorithm. I'm going to get back to your comments here in a second. I'm just on a little bit of a rant. I think that a lot of people have started to play with the algorithm and know how the algorithm works. I don't want to criticize anybody directly, but if you know what's recently some of the drama in the FragCom, there's somebody with they have the name Simply in their name. And I thought about saying this or not, but I guess I'm going to say it. I'm not really exposing anybody, but the algorithm does work. And so I saw three people just jumped away from the live. Some people don't want to hear it, but it's real. On YouTube, it's real. So Simply Put Scents was a fragrance reviewer. He got pretty up there. He was a cool guy. I think his name's E, or maybe that's his nickname. E at Simply Put Scents. And I forget when he stopped reviewing fragrances, a year and a half ago, something like that, a little over a year. He's a cool guy, but so the YouTube algorithm, I guess, with anything like this, it shows that people are willing to search for that and that there's an audience for that. And if you kind of upon yourself when somebody kind of stops reviewing as much, that's why there was I mentioned that before with some of the drama with the different curlies. One of the curlies didn't review fragrances as often as they wanted to, and that's one of the reasons why that another curly became so big. And now we have somebody named Simply, and there was already Simply Put Scents, and they don't really review fragrances anymore. And there's some other opportunities to do that. I would not encourage somebody to do that, but again, I kind of make it a comparison to something simple like an allegory, like biblically, like rich soil. If there's that opportunity, somebody might just take it. And that's again, there were so many people who laid the groundwork, but didn't want to do top 10s. And that's one reason Jeremy Fragrance went up like a skyrocket, amongst other things. If we had other bigger fragrance reviewers who were more consistent, some of these guys I really like Street Sense, like Al, and some of these guys were really consistent and maybe paid attention more to what the people really wanted, we might not have the same situation as we're in. But again, I'm not trying to tear down Jeremy. I'm just saying that I think as a Fragcom that we're all beginning to be more aware. Not that Jeremy Fragrance is. There's lots of problems. I mean, we can't deny the problems, but you know, regarding fragrance, at least, that's what we're trying to focus on. There's a lot out there to explore, and some of these guys, like Jeremy, they don't really review. And I'm not trying to hype myself up. It might seem like that, but I can't even. I mean, I can't even review all the stuff out there. I don't have all the money, and I don't even have all the time. I talked to somebody in the Fragcom just a couple days ago, and they mentioned 4 or 5 niche brands, and they said that they found some of their favorite fragrances from them. I had never even heard of the brand at all. I'd never smelled a single fragrance from 4 or 5 of these niche houses. So there is so much out there, and to me, that's what makes it exciting that we're all exploring and sharing what we love. And there's newness. There's new things to see. Some people get overwhelmed, and some people want to focus, I guess, on everybody buying the same things. That can be good when we all have a similar nose or we all love the same thing. But I've never been a bandwagon person, and hype works. YouTube likes hype. YouTube likes momentum. But I don't know. Maybe I'm not sure how to address that. That's another topic altogether. Let me catch up with some of the comments, though. I really appreciate y'all commenting and jumping in here today. Let's see here. It sounds excellent. So y'all like the audio. Read that. Red says opinion on Pacro Ultra Red. Lots of hype. That's another thing. I just ordered 3 or 4 cheapies. I don't have the biggest budget. I'll get when I ordered some more fragrances in the future, maybe I'll be able to review that one. But I'm not a collector. I like to only own what I love, and I've really gotten to the point where I have a big collection. I have more than enough fragrances that I'll ever need, and I'm starting to get to the point where I don't want to have to flip and sell fragrances at a loss on eBay. I've done lots of that. I've done that over and over and over, and in the future, if I made enough money, I would just buy these things and just give them away. But I'm not financially there yet. Maybe somehow I could make that happen. But I will try to review that. I've heard that that's a good one, and I've heard some love for the Paco Rabanne Ultra Red. So I'll try to get my nose on it. I think some people are comparing it to Ultra Zest by Mugler. I think that was the comparison. So Judd the says Fragrance Army. We won't talk about that too much either, but that was a big thing. Some people don't like to recognize that Jeremy was, I don't want to say he's a leader, but he certainly he is the biggest force. And there were some people who were so zealous that they would actually go and attack other channels. And I know some other people in Fragcom who were attacked. And it's not, things have gotten better. And I don't know if he slowed them down or not, but you couldn't even have a different opinion. If you had an opinion on a different fragrance, sometimes you get attacked for just hyping or being really excited about a different fragrance. If Jeremy Fragrance hadn't talked about it, or if he didn't say it was the best fragrance, people come down on you on your channel, kind of attack you or downvote your video and all that stuff. It's not like that anymore, but there was a time, and that was a crazy time. That's kind of like when I started my channel. But when we kind of got out of that stage, the fragrance community is there. I mean, it has all kinds of wild stuff that's happened. Michael's says, hey Ben, original Dog Man told George that he should have chosen someone like you to make a fragrance with because you're genuine, passionate. That's very kind of Dog Man. That's very kind of him. I'm not trying to take away. He collaborated with some pretty cool people, as far as I know. I don't have the biggest channel, but I do appreciate that. Again, I'm not trying to say George is all for the money, but you have to recognize that there is something of scale. If a brand, it might not, even if it's a $200-300 fragrance, it might only cost them $50 to make it and ship it to me to review it. I know different people have different opinions on that, but even if they did, but even some companies, if you're not big enough, they don't even want to spend the time to talk to you. And you would think that, having real organic subscribers, you would think that's a lot. I have almost 3,000 subs, and I see 14 people are here. Thank you so much. Y'all are awesome. Y'all are incredible. But brands and companies, I don't know exactly how they think, but they think in numbers and they think in conversion rates, and they think like a business person. And I do agree. Maybe I don't know. I didn't contact George. George didn't contact me, and I'm not offended at all. There might be some of these other bigger fragrance reviewers who might want to work with George or might not. I mean, he's put out some cool fragrances. Maybe in the future, maybe that is an option. I do want to make my own brand in my own company, but if somebody like George wanted to make a specific fragrance, and if that's something y'all be open to for y'all, and something and a taste and a style that I really love, and y'all might like if y'all have similar taste to me. I mean, hey, that's all good and fun. But I don't reach out to brands like that. I've actually had a couple Middle Eastern companies, or I don't know if they're really companies, but perfumers reached out to me and they're like, "Hey, want to make a fragrance and sell it?" And I'm like, "No, I don't really want to do that." And again, I don't think that they were big companies, even if they were. It's not something I really want to do. Ronald E says evening scent of the night is Issey Miyake pour homme or an oh is it or I think it's or in encens or incense. Nice choice. I've been hearing some good things about that one. I'm always tempted to get the Noir Argent. That's not a fragrance that I need, but I like it. I do think it's underrated. It's smooth. It's kind of simple. Doesn't really change a lot, but it's nice quality. That's probably but I haven't tried Pulse of the Night, which I've heard very good things about. Noir Argent is probably the best that I've smelled from Issey Miyake. So Raz Scott says, yeah, there's such an unbelievable amount of brands out there. I hear houses every day I haven't heard of before. And I've been massively, yeah, that's the thing. I'm crazy. I feel the same way, Raz Scott. I feel like I'm deep into this hobby. And I've gotten to the point where I've caught up and smelled a lot of designer fragrances. I've smelled lots of things from the 80s and the 90s and a little bit of I haven't smelled all the flankers. Some of them disappear. Some of the flankers get really expensive. But I've gone back and made it a point to smell almost everything that I feel that's very relevant or somewhat accessible. So I haven't owned or reviewed everything like Spice Bomb Extreme. Still something it hasn't become cheap enough, or I haven't felt the need to really get it. But so there's a few things out there. But designer fragrance wise, I've touched about almost everything, and I again, I have a lot of big videos and some other reviews coming for y'all. But even especially with niche and the designer game moves so quickly. Every year, there's so many new designer releases, and that's kind of another one of the things. As a fragrance content creator, what do you need to review? How often do you need to review new fragrances, and what should you focus on? So that's the interesting thing. And when you find a couple of really good designer or whatever fragrances they are, should you keep talking about those to hype them up so more people know about them, or should you put your efforts into finding new stuff? As a fragrance channel, for me personally, I have tried to move very, very quickly. I have tried to find and smell everything. And there's been times where people are like, why don't you ever talk about this one? And I talked about it, 8 months ago, a year ago, and I said it was amazing. And then I never talked about it again because we're moving so fast. There's another fragrance, there's something new we gotta look on. And I'm always exploring all of this niche stuff as much as I can. So and some people really I like to do that. But some people don't. Some people feel like that's stressful or that's too much to handle, or they like to have the bottles instead of the samples. And that's another thing. I've already talked about this over and over. I won't talk about too much, but some people really don't think you should review from a sample. Again, you can get like 30 or so sprays out of a 2 or 3 ml decant. I feel like that's more than enough to review a fragrance from. But some people like to see the bottle. Especially if you're very positive about the fragrance, they like to see that you actually like the fragrance to enough. If you say good things about it, to commit to the fragrance. And again, there's so many different aspects to fragrance reviewing. I can be very positive about a fragrance. I've been very positive about a couple yellow florals, which I personally really dislike. and I've been very positive about some really heavy jasmines, which I really struggle with. And I could talk about some other things, but I can try kind of step away from my personal preferences. I can try to step away from my personal opinions and kind of try to see fragrance for what it is, besides of my personal preferences. Really strong Nerolis, I don't deal with that. Animalics have to be have to those qualities. The skanky quality has to be done just right for me to want to mess with a fragrance if it has any of that in the fragrance. I can handle more than I think the average person, but I don't like a ton of it. So yeah, it's fascinating with fragrance reviewing that some people are only going to share the bottles that they buy. They're only going to share those fragrances that they actually have in their hand, and they genuinely really love. Some people like me try to be a fragrance reviewer where we review everything, talk about everything, get your hand on everything. Some people are going to, I don't know, want to collect, and they might, some people aren't won't ever be critical of a fragrance. Almost everything that they smell, they seem to like it. So it's really fascinating. Let me know if there's anything else I should say regarding that. But Red Baron says, yes, it's kind of like Ultra Zest. Just hurry up while you can find it for around 40. Yeah, it's a lot of fragrances come and go. And that's another one that's got some hype. And supposedly it's discontinued or there's a limited supply. Yeah, some people are saying it's going to become expensive. Why would you not reach out? I have nothing against George over there. I just don't. I usually don't reach out to companies. I've done it a time or two. I'm like, hey, do you want to collaborate? I don't do it too often. Most of the time, I just get ignored. Honestly, some I'm very honest with y'all. So some people think I get everything in the world for free, which is definitely not the case. But I really get ignored all the time. And so I usually don't try to reach out to any companies. I too much. So again, that's so avant-garde. So I might be able to work with them in the future. We'll see if that happens. But I don't have anything against George. He's a cool guy. But I don't ask for collaborations with brands or anything like Ormond. For example, I really like Ormond Jane. I spoke very highly about them. I've reviewed some of their fragrances. I was actually one of the people who hyped up Mon Tobacco Intensivo and really got people in the FragCon buying it and talking about it. And then they made a couple of flankers. I don't know if it's their most successful fragrance, but it had a huge pop in popularity. And there was a My World of Fragrance. I think she spoke very highly of it as well. And we kind of got things rolling. And then there was a bunch of flankers. So I mean, us as fragrance reviewers definitely have an impact and an influence how much these companies want to get involved or admit to that or try to put a little bit of power in our hands. Usually is not the case. So, anyways, let's see here. Red Baron says, "What's your favorite of the the Terre de Hermes line?" They're all fantastic, really. I love the Eau Trace Fresh, as y'all know, the original. I kind of gone back to that one as my favorite, but the Eau Trace Fresh is fantastic. All of them work. Personally, for me, sorry about that. The Parfum is probably my least favorite. It's a fine fragrance. It's got a nice fullness to it with those green qualities to it, almost like Boise de Portugal. And Boise de Portugal is much more expensive by Creed, but it's the far better fragrance if you want that kind of vibe, in my opinion. So I don't know. I've reviewed, at least I think I've put my review of fragrance. I know that I've recorded it at least. So, anyways, yeah, Hermes line is a strong line, a little bit confident, mature for some people. A lot of with the modern sweet trendy fragrances might be too masculine for some people, but Terre de Hermes line still a very strong line for sure. PW says, how much money would you say you've spent on this so far? I don't know. I don't know if I want to put a number in. I probably don't want to look at it. I bought those cheapies because I wanted to put out some new cheapy and affordable content for y'all. And of course, I want to review them and I want to smell them. But honestly, I feel very comfortable with my collection. There's a handful of niche bottles I want to buy in the future, 5 or 10 or so. And I don't know if I'm ever going to buy anything after that. Oh, I almost forgot. That reminds me. I almost forgot what I was going to say about Ormond Jane. With companies and communication, I reached out to them on their Instagram, which that's where most people are very active and communicate. And I've tried to reach out to them a couple other times or ways, and I really wanted a bottle of black gold. I think it's discontinued. I couldn't seem to find it anywhere, and I reached out to them and asked them if it was discontinued and if they had any. They were in contact with any of their boutiques, or anybody, if they would help me essentially find a bottle. And I'm a fragrance reviewer, and I would speak very highly about it. I already have. And you'd think that they would pay attention, that I would speak very highly of a fragrance. And I loved it, and I wanted a bottle. Some people in the Fragcom would think that they'd be eager to send me a bottle, and I wasn't even trying to get a free bottle. Did they even respond? Did they even look at my message? Pretty much no, they didn't. And I'm not trying to downplay Ormond Jade. They're a great house. I don't know. All these companies have different HR teams. They have different I don't know, different attitudes to the fragrance world or their customers or whatever. So says Raz Scott says, I used to do reviews 10 years ago. Oh, you did? I don't think I knew that, Raz Scott. I'll be honest, I don't think I knew that. When I only had 20 bottles and then started doing reviews and first impressions from just samples. Yeah, that's the thing. I think that we, and I'm kind of encouraging reviewing from samples, and some people have a very bad attitude about that. But again, you can get 20 or 30 sprays. It depends on how much you put on and how strong the fragrance is, how concentrated it is. Wear that sample at least 4 or 5 times. If you can't review a fragrance after you've worn it 4 or 5 times as a fragrance reviewer, I don't know, and I think people should be able to see that and recognize that you can review that. You can make a review just by experiencing a sample. But I don't know. Some people like to see that you've committed to a bottle, and I don't. This might be the most expensive hobby. If you want to be a fragrance reviewer, this might be the most expensive, review wise. Unless you're some of these people who have, I don't know, 50,000 plus, maybe they break even. I don't know, but even buying samples and just reviewing from samples, I don't even break even. And if I had to show a full size bottle of just one fragrance review, cost me $200 to $300 just to show that bottle to you, just so I could review it. Because I want to review everything, even if I like it or not. It's not because I want to own everything and I don't want to put everything on a shelf. I almost wish that I owned a boutique or had a friend that owned a boutique, and I'd like to come in there, just show you the bottle and review everything. But, to financially do that,